Hey everyone, Corey here coming at you today. It is St. Patrick's Day, Monday, March 17th. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and of course I am at the Agri-Fair office at Abbotsford's Exhibition Park. Look at that. Look at those beautiful new wheels. That is Ruby, my new 2023 Volkswagen Jetta Sport. Picked that up just over a week ago from White Rock Volkswagen. Almost the identical car to the rental that I had from ICBC over the last few weeks before I picked this one up in White Rock last weekend. So super excited about that. A red car, which some people aren't too kicked up about a red car, but I don't speed much anyway, so I'm not too worried about the police catching me in my red car. And Yosuke is over at AgRec right now. That's his Jetta, and that's the 2012 Jetta TDI that we picked up from Gold Key Volkswagen last year in Langley. So yeah, the updated Volkswagen stable. Yosuke and I are pretty happy with our cars. How you doing, everybody? Hope that you had a fantastic weekend. It has been over a week since my last walk and talk video. Lots going on. All good stuff. All good stuff. My ICBC claim from my accident back in February was finally settled. And as they say now at ICBC, it was settled positively in my favor, and was very happy with the service that I received from ICBC with regards to my accident. Very happy with what ICBC determined the value of a 2013 Golf TDI is. And so yeah, so that's all settled up now. I got the new car, I've got the settlement, we're good to go. And yeah, again, just gonna say it one more time, how incredibly lucky I feel at how all that turned out. So got the new car, and been working on a ton of fundraising and planning for the summer. The summer is getting booked up with different fundraisers and events and fairs and all sorts of fun stuff. We're like this close to being able to make some big announcements with Agri-Fair, with some of the exciting shows and events that we have coming as part of Agri-Fair 2025. And yeah, just motoring along with all sorts of fun stuff. What do I want to talk about today? I know what I want to talk about today. So when we were down in Vegas with our friends Dave and Aaron, I really enjoy hanging out with Dave and Aaron because they're really smart people, and they're not afraid to challenge me on things I do, things I say, things I think, and not challenge in a threatening way, but challenge in a way that really makes me think. And so we had some conversations with regards to the covering of one's identity in order to fit in, or to, in my case, not make somebody feel uncomfortable. And this conversation came out of the fact that generally in public, and particularly in certain settings, Yosuke and I do not, public displays of affection are not really something that Yosuke and I are big on. And so as we're in Vegas, in the Sin City, and people are having lots of fun and doing what people do in Vegas, Aaron and Dave noticed that Yosuke and I don't really hold each other's hand in public, at least in Vegas. We're just not, not a lot of public displays of affection with Yosuke and I. And so they questioned that. And I talked about, the fact that we don't necessarily want to make others feel uncomfortable. And in making others feel uncomfortable with our public displays of affection, that when other people get uncomfortable, their uncomfortable reaction can often make it uncomfortable for us. And so we just, as a rule, we don't do that. And I may have been a bit dramatic in my presenting my feelings about how others, straight people, really don't have to worry about making others uncomfortable when they show affection in public, and that maybe, straight people don't necessarily think about how their public displays of affection might make others feel. And so through that conversation, we talked a lot about, being true to ourselves and being authentic and being genuine and not hiding, or, as I learned, covering for our identities. And so we had a conversation about it, and I left Vegas kind of thinking, I represented my perspective and shared how I felt, and that's good to go. Well, a week after or so, Dave sent me a link to a podcast, and this is for some context. We did talk a lot about podcasts and vlogging and blogs and that sort of stuff while we were together with Dave and Aaron. We talked about those sorts of forums quite a bit. And so Dave knew that I was interested in podcasts, and he sent a podcast along that explored this whole idea of covering our identity or who we are in order to fit in and to make others feel more comfortable, which was exactly what we were discussing when we were in Vegas. And the podcast was, the interviewee in the podcast was, funny enough, a Japanese-born gay guy who studies, talks about, writes about this idea of covering our true identities. And what was really interesting about the podcast and the conversation that was had during the podcast was the idea that while covering one's true identity may be more common in kind of minority or vulnerable populations, people who are maybe obviously different, that maybe it's more of a universal phenomenon, that it's just not LGBT people or whatever that feel the need to cover their identity, but that there are probably all of us at some point, we work to hide a part of ourselves that maybe we're not proud of, that maybe we're uncomfortable with, maybe we've been teased about, or there's lots of things. And it could be bald guys, bald people that wear a hat to cover their baldness, or people who are a little bit overweight who maybe grow a beard to hide the extra under their chin, or wear certain clothing to make them not appear as large as they are. There's lots of different reasons. Maybe someone's shy and they behave differently, or they present themselves differently because they don't want people to know they're shy. So just got me really thinking. And of course, I do a lot of reflecting on perspective and understanding people's perspective, and how to share my perspective on different things with people so that they'll understand. Not that I want to force my perspective on anyone else, but how do I share my perspective with people so that they'll understand and maybe accept who I am and where I come from. So I wanted to bring this topic up, this idea of covering, and to see and to put it out there with some of you and see if you can relate to that concept. If you can relate to the need, feeling the need to hide or mask, or maybe it's a scar. Maybe you've got a scar on your body and you don't want to show that scar. You don't want to explain yourself. So maybe you cover that scar up, or maybe it's tattoos, or maybe you wear high-heeled shoes because you're short, or something like that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there just as a concept for us to ponder, to reflect on in our, journey to understand each other a little bit better. So if you're comfortable and you want to share with me, whether or not you've ever covered up an aspect of who you are, to fit in, or to try to make others less uncomfortable. If you're comfortable sharing that with me, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, or if you want to send me a personal message, or if you'd like to go for a walk or go for a coffee and talk about it. I'm really interested in hearing about it, and whether or not you've come to terms with it, or if it's something that you'd like to work on being able to uncover and to be true and authentic. And it's one of the things I'm kind of learning as I get older, is people really enjoy when others are their true authentic selves. And I think that when we talk about freedom, when we talk about, hey there, when we talk about, feeling comfortable or fitting in, or even just this whole concept of loving one another, I think the journey to getting to that place is part of that journey is coming to terms with who we are and who we present to the world. So might be a little deep for a Monday musing video, but it's been on my mind, and I just want to let Dave know. Thank you, first of all, for sending me the link to that podcast. Maybe I'll put the link to the podcast in the comments so that you've got some context. But Dave, I've listened to the podcast twice, and yeah, you got me thinking. You got me considering, whether or not I need to cover, and what really my motivation is for that. So that's just kind of a deep topic that I just wanted to throw out there today and see if anyone can relate to that. On the lighter side, we've got a big music bingo fundraiser happening this Saturday night at the Dros Community Hall. It's a fundraiser in support of the Desroches Community Fair, which will be happening at the Desroches Hall on August 23rd. But this Saturday, March 22nd, we're going to have a big ass fundraiser. I think it's going to be really busy, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you haven't called to make a reservation for the fundraiser at Desroches Hall this Saturday, I'd recommend that you do. And I recommend that you don't just show up at the door, because I have a feeling there's going to be very limited seating for that. So very excited about that. And we've got folks coming from Abbotsford and Chilliwack and all over coming out to support that event this Saturday at the hall. What else is happening? Check this out. The weather is good enough now that the BMXers are out on their track. I'm told this is one of the only sanctioned BMX tracks in Western Canada that's sanctioned by, I don't know, the Canadian BMX whatever. It's a very, very cool facility, and I actually had no idea how popular BMX was here in the valley. So it's very, very cool to see that. And you can see the sky above me. It is absolutely, well, it's cloudy, it's spring, but there's a ton of blue sky, and it's starting to feel warm. And speaking of warm weather, had a chat with my Goldwing guru, Cliff, over on the island, where I've got my 1988 Goldwing 1500. Cliff's had it since mid-January. He's going to have it for another month or so, and he's going right through it, front to back. New exhaust, new tires, new brakes, new forks, cam belts, a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even know what it means. But basically, fingers crossed, when I get my Goldwing back here in a month or so, when the really warm weather should start. Oh, the sun is just coming down now. Gonna have almost a fully restored Goldwing to enjoy when we're not doing other stuff during the summer. Summer's getting full, but anyway, it's all good, and looking forward to everything that we've got on the calendar this year. Had a bit of an idea over the weekend. When I told Yosuke about my idea, he said, well, are you going to tell anyone else about your idea? And I thought, well, the point is to tell people. But if I tell people, then I'm going to kind of be committed to doing it. So I'm just going to tell you now and see if I follow through or not. I downloaded a walking app this weekend, the step counter. I know lots of you are counting your steps with your watches or whatever, but I downloaded an app that's counting my steps, giving me some goals with regards to how many steps a day over a period of time to improve my fitness, my mental health, all the things that walking does. And so I was thinking that I think Friday, March 21st, first day of spring, and I kind of think that I might challenge myself to a spring walking challenge and see if I can be successful in getting out every day of the spring. So that's like March 21st to June 20th or something like that. See if I can get out every day for a walk, 30-minute walk, or whatever my app tells me that I need to do. And maybe post a short video every day for those 90 days of spring. Just a real short, kind of an accountability video. But, you know, we're doing these longer form 20-minute or so videos. And I took a workshop last week, put on by Tourism Abbotsford Tourism, Connie over there at Tourism, on short form videos and talking about, you know, these videos that are about a minute long, less than a minute, and uploading those, you know, as your reels or your stories on Instagram and YouTube shorts. I don't do TikTok, so I'm not doing that. But I kind of thought it might be a fun way of generating some content, holding myself accountable, and posting some short videos. Still will try to do my once a week walk and talks. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to do it. Well, now that I've said that I'm thinking about do it, probably be pretty lame if I don't do it. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. The 21st is Friday, and so we'll see if I get my butt out of bed early enough on Friday. See, a lot of my days, well, I guess most of my days, I can take a walk while I'm at work on my lunch hour. Although my sister-in-law Sasha did mention in the comments of my last video that she's getting bored of Exhibition Park, and with the cherry blossoms coming, she'd maybe like to see me taking walks in some different locations. And I've been trying to think where I can find cherry blossoms, Sasha. It's not like Japan where there's miles and miles of cherry blossoms in every small town, but the challenge is on to do a walk and talk with some cherry blossoms, and also to get out to some different places to walk. And I think if I do my daily walks, that'll give me an opportunity to do some walks in Desroches, maybe on the property, maybe up North Desroches Road, maybe head out onto the public portions of the dike. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're over 20 minutes now. It's going to take a long time to get this uploaded. Probably spent way too much time on this concept of covering, but it's what's on my heart and in my head right now. So I wanted to throw it out there and get some feedback from some of you. Here's some thoughts on that. Busy weekend at the Desroches Hall this weekend, and lots going on as we prepare for the spring and summer events for 2025. I hope that you have a fantastic week. I hope that you're going to get out and enjoy the warmer weather. Go for a walk, clear your head, clear the cobwebs out, and let's get ready for some sunshine. Thanks for taking a walk with me today, everybody. If you made it to the end of the video and you want to comment covering, maybe cover or covering, that'll be our word of the day. You can put that into the comments and let me know that you watched the video all the way to the end. Thanks for going for a walk with me, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you again real soon, hopefully on Friday, for the beginning of my spring walking challenge. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye for now.